Self-acceptance, especially when it comes to the body, is one of the greatest challenges many people face throughout life. We live in a society saturated with idealized images, unrealistic standards, and immense pressure to fit into molds that always seem out of reach. From a young age, we are bombarded with messages about how we should look, how much we should weigh, and what the shape of our bodies should be. The problem is that these standards often do not take into account the individuality and diversity of human bodies, leaving a sense of inadequacy that erodes self-esteem. Self-acceptance is a deep journey, far beyond just looking in the mirror and feeling good. It's a process of recognizing that your worth is not tied to your physical shape or outward appearance. And while this truth seems simple, putting it into practice is an arduous task, because the world out there always seems to be shouting the opposite. Imagine a person who grew up believing that only a slim, toned body is considered beautiful. Since adolescence, they observe magazine covers, TV commercials, and social media reinforcing this idea. Every failed diet, every number on the scale that doesn't drop the way they'd like, becomes yet another proof that they are wrong, that they need to fix themselves. The psychological effect of this is devastating. They begin avoiding clothes they would like to wear, feel ashamed to go out in public, and restrict themselves from living full moments out of fear of being judged. This cycle of insecurity feeds itself, and the body comes to be seen as an enemy. The person starts to believe that they will only be worthy of love, admiration, or happiness when they achieve a specific standard, something that may never come. And as time passes, life happens, while they remain trapped in this endless quest for something that doesn't truly define them. Self-acceptance, on the other hand, proposes a change in perspective. It's a revolutionary act in a world that insists on making us feel insufficient. But, of course, this doesn't happen overnight. The first step is recognizing that your body doesn't need to fit into a standard to be valued. It is already worthy of respect and care, simply for existing. Every curve, every mark, every detail tells a unique story that is part of who you are. However, it's essential not to romanticize the process of self-acceptance as something easy or free of pain. Sometimes it's deeply uncomfortable. You will face self-critical thoughts, the urge to compare yourself to others, the desire to fit into clothes that seem to be made for a different type of body. These moments are normal, but it's important to remember that the value of self-acceptance lies precisely in resisting these internal and external voices that say otherwise. Another major challenge is the deconstruction of old beliefs. Many people believe that accepting their body as it is means giving up on taking care of it or improving aspects of their health. But nothing could be further from the truth. Self-acceptance is not about complacency, but about loving yourself enough to take care of yourself without the pressure of achieving an unrealistic ideal. It's about understanding that health and beauty are much broader concepts than we are led to believe. Think of someone who decides to start exercising, not because they hate their body, but because they want to honor what it can do. The focus shifts from aesthetics to well-being. They eat well, not out of guilt or fear of gaining weight, but because their body deserves to be nourished. This kind of relationship with oneself is transformative. Instead of a constant battle to fit into a standard, the person begins to connect with who they really are and what makes them feel good, regardless of what magazines or social media say. However, we also need to talk about how society still needs to make progress in relation to body diversity. The body positivity movement has gained strength, but there is still significant resistance. Accepting and respecting different bodies, whether in size, color, age, or shape, is essential for more people to feel seen and represented. Media, fashion, and culture must continue to evolve to reflect the plural reality we live in. More and more, we need to see real bodies occupying prominent spaces, so that little by little, the idea of a single beauty standard is diluted. After all, the challenge of self-acceptance is not only individual but also collective. When a person decides to accept themselves and stop seeking external approval, they are, in a way, challenging an entire system that profits from our dissatisfaction. It's an act of courage, because accepting yourself as you are, in a world that constantly tells you otherwise, is one of the greatest acts of self-love you can perform. The truth is that our bodies are constantly changing. The body you have today may not be the same tomorrow. Youth will pass, marks and scars will appear, and what will remain is how you chose to see and treat yourself throughout this journey. That's why the challenge of self-acceptance is so important. Because it's about living fully, free from the chains of judgment, and celebrating life in all its forms and sizes.